The space around New Haven Station burned with orange fire. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his ship's bridge as the last human defense platform exploded into metal pieces. His ship, the USS Defiance, shook as alien energy beams passed close by. The ship's hull made groaning sounds that meant they were in serious trouble. "Captain, we have to leave now," said Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter. She was looking at her computer screen with wide eyes. "3 more alien ships are coming toward us. Our weapons can't hurt them." Jake nodded and turned to his pilot. "Get us out of here, Sam. Use the asteroid field to hide." The Defiance moved away from the battle as fast as it could. Behind them, New Haven Station broke apart completely. Jake had watched 12 human colonies die in the past month. Each time the story was the same. The Zephyrian Empire would arrive with their huge crystal ships. Human weapons would bounce off their shields like rocks thrown at a mountain. Then the aliens would destroy everything. The Zephyrians had been conquering worlds for 300 years. Their ships were bigger than most human cities. Each one carried enough firepower to burn a planet. They moved through space like angry gods, taking whatever they wanted and killing anyone who said no. Jake's crew was tired and scared. They had been running for weeks. 43 people were all that remained of the Third Colonial Fleet. The fleet had started with over 200 ships and 15,000 crew members. Now most of those people were dead or captured. "Sir, we're getting a message from Earth Command," said Lieutenant Amy Foster. She was the ship's communications officer and had been trying to contact Earth for days. "Put it through," Jake said. A hologram appeared in front of them. Admiral Helen Rodriguez looked tired but determined. "All remaining ships, this is Earth Command. You are ordered to return to Sol System immediately. Do not engage enemy forces." "Repeat, do not engage." Lisa looked confused. "They want us to run away?" "What about the colonies that are still fighting?" Jake understood. "They're telling us to come home because they have a plan. Something big," the message continued. Admiral Rodriguez spoke in a serious voice. "Effective immediately, all fleet commanders are authorized to implement Protocol 7. Command codes will be sent separately." The hologram disappeared. Amy looked at her captain with surprise. "Protocol 7? I thought that was just a training exercise." "No," Jake said quietly. "It's real. And if they're using it, that means Earth has been preparing for something like this." Protocol 7 was a plan that most people in the military thought was impossible. It required perfect timing and technology that was still being tested. But if it worked, it would change everything about this war. The Defiance flew deeper into the asteroid field. The big rocks would hide them from alien sensors for a while. Jake looked at the stars and thought about his home planet. Earth had been preparing for alien contact for 50 years. When the Zephyrians first arrived, humans had tried to be friendly. They offered trade and peace. The aliens had laughed and started taking human worlds, but Earth scientists had been studying alien technology from the beginning. Every piece of wreckage, every captured weapon, every bit of data had been analyzed and studied. For decades, the best human minds had been working on a single question: how do you fight enemies who are stronger, faster, and more advanced than you? The answer was simple. "You don't fight fair, Captain," said Chief Engineer Sam Walsh over the communication system. "I'm reading strange energy patterns from the direction of Earth. Something big is powering up." Jake smiled for the first time in weeks. "Good. Send a coded message to any human ship still out there. Tell them to start Phase 1 of Protocol 7. Lisa entered commands into her computer. Across human space, hidden weapons caches started activating. Prisoners of war who had been pretending to be broken began preparing for action. Civilian ships that looked harmless started revealing hidden surprises. The Zephyrians thought they had won. They had spread their forces across dozens of star systems, confident that humans were beaten. Their admirals were already planning victory celebrations. They had made the same mistake that every conqueror in history eventually makes. They had stopped paying attention to their enemy. Jake watched as Amy sent the coded messages. Each message looked like random radio noise to alien sensors, but human computers could decode them perfectly. Soon, every human in the galaxy would know that Earth had not given up. Earth had been waiting. "Sir," said Sam over the radio, "the Defiance is in bad shape. We need major repairs if we're going to be useful in whatever comes next." "How long?" Jake asked. 2 weeks minimum, maybe 3. Jake thought about this. Protocol 7 needed time to work anyway. The plan required careful preparation and exact timing. If they rushed it, everything would fail. We'll find a place to hide and fix the ship, he decided, but keep monitoring all channels. When Phase 2 begins, I want to be ready. The Defiance disappeared into the asteroid field. Behind them, the Zephyrian fleet continued its advance toward Earth. Admiral Korax, the alien commander, was pleased with how easy this conquest had been. Humans were weak and primitive. Their technology was thousands of years behind Zephyrian science, but Admiral Korax had never fought humans before. He had fought dozens of other species, and they had all surrendered when they realized they could not win. Humans were different. When humans realized they could not win a fair fight, they stopped fighting fair. On Earth, massive construction projects that had been hidden for decades were finally revealed. Ships that did not follow any known design principles were being completed in secret yards. Weapons that worked on physics most aliens had never heard of were being loaded and tested. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for centuries because no one had ever been able to challenge their military power. They were about to learn that their greatest strength could also be their greatest weakness. When you have never lost a fight, you stop preparing for the possibility that you might lose. Earth had been preparing for that possibility since the first alien ship appeared in human space. Now it was time to see if all that preparation had been worth it. Jake Morrison looked at the stars and knew that everything was about to change. Deep inside Earth's largest shipyard, Admiral Helen Rodriguez stood before something that should not exist. The ship hanging in the construction bay looked nothing like other human vessels. Where most ships were built for speed or cargo capacity, this one was built for only one purpose. It was built to kill. The USS Nemesis was black as space itself. Its hull was made from materials that human science had thought impossible just 10 years ago. Metal taken from the hearts of dying stars. Armor that could stop weapons designed to crack planets. Energy systems that drew power from places that existed between normal space and somewhere else entirely. Commander Ryan Mitchell walked around his new ship like a man studying a dangerous animal. He had been chosen to captain the Nemesis after 20 years of service in the human fleet. His record was perfect. His loyalty was absolute. His willingness to do whatever was necessary had been tested many times. "She's beautiful," said Chief Engineer Sam Walsh. He had transferred from the Defiance specifically to work on this project. "I've never seen technology like this. Half of these systems shouldn't be possible according to everything we know about physics." Admiral Rodriguez smiled. "That's because we've been learning new physics. Every alien ship we captured, every piece of technology we studied, every prisoner we questioned. 50 years of preparation have led to this moment. The Nemesis was not just advanced, it was revolutionary. Its engines could move the ship faster than light in ways that alien science had never imagined. Its weapons could destroy targets by making them stop existing. Its defenses could absorb any attack and turn that energy into power for its own systems." Lieutenant Amy Foster had also transferred to the Nemesis. As communications officer, she would be responsible for coordinating with human forces across the galaxy. Her equipment could break into any alien communication system and send messages faster than most species could detect. "Admiral," Amy said, "we're receiving reports from our spy networks. The Zephyrian fleet is moving toward Earth. They think they're going to end this war with one final battle." "Good," said Admiral Rodriguez. "Let them come. They've never fought anything like the Nemesis." Dr. Kate Hudson worked in the ship's science section. She had spent 15 years studying alien technology and had personally designed many of the Nemesis's most dangerous systems. Her quantum torpedo launchers could fire weapons that would erase their targets from reality. Her energy cannons drew power directly from artificial black holes that existed in special containers. "The weapon systems are ready," she reported. "All tests have been successful. The aliens have no defense against what we've built." Commander Mitchell looked at his crew. These were not ordinary sailors. Each person had been chosen for their skills and their ability to keep secrets. They had trained for 2 years on systems so advanced that most human scientists could not understand them. The ship's artificial intelligence was named Oracle. It had been built using quantum computers that operated on the edge of what was physically possible. Oracle could think faster than any biological mind and could control every system on the ship simultaneously. "Oracle," Mitchell said. "System status report." The AI's voice filled the bridge. It sounded almost human, but carried an undertone that suggested vast intelligence and barely controlled power. "All systems operational, Captain. Weapons at full charge. Defenses at maximum strength. We are ready to engage any target you designate. Colonel Steve Barnes coordinated with resistance fighters throughout the occupied territories. Human prisoners who had been thought broken and defeated were quietly receiving new orders. Weapons that had been hidden during the first alien attacks were being distributed. The Zephyrians had kept human captives alive to use as psychological weapons against Earth. Now that decision would cost them everything. "Sir," said Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter, who had also joined the Nemesis crew, "intelligence reports indicate that the aliens are completely confident in their victory. They're not even taking basic precautions," Mitchell nodded. "They've won every battle for 300 years. They have no reason to expect this one to be different." The Nemesis powered up its engines for the first time at full capacity. Space around the ship began to bend and twist in ways that hurt to look at. The ship's presence seemed to make reality itself uncomfortable. This was not just advanced technology. This was technology that operated according to rules that most civilizations had never discovered. Admiral Rodriguez watched as final preparations were completed. "Captain Mitchell, you have your orders. Show the galaxy what happens when humans stop holding back." The construction bay doors opened and the Nemesis moved into space. Its movement was silent but somehow felt like the sound of thunder. As it passed other human ships, their crews stopped what they were doing to watch. They had heard rumors about secret projects and hidden weapons. Now they were seeing the result of decades of preparation. The ship's sensors reached out across the galaxy, detecting and analyzing every Zephyrian vessel within 1,000 light years. Oracle began calculating optimal attack patterns and target priorities. The AI had been programmed with one simple directive: protect humanity by destroying its enemies completely and efficiently. "Communications. Send a message to all human vessels," Mitchell ordered. "Tell them that Phase 2 of Protocol 7 is now active. The Nemesis is operational." Amy's equipment sent the coded message across human space. In hidden bases and secret facilities, people who had been waiting for years finally received permission to reveal what they had been building. Ships that had been disguised as cargo haulers dropped their false hulls to reveal weapons platforms. Stations that had appeared to be mining operations activated defense systems that could challenge alien dreadnoughts. Dr. Hudson monitored the weapon systems as they completed their final calibrations. "Captain, we have full targeting solutions on the approaching Zephyrian fleet. 1,200 enemy vessels detected. Recommended engagement range anywhere we choose." The Nemesis was more than just a warship. It was a message to every alien species in the galaxy. For too long, humans had been seen as weak and primitive. They had been hunted, enslaved, and dismissed as unimportant. The Nemesis would change that perception permanently. "Set course for the edge of the Sol system," Mitchell ordered. "It's time to show our visitors what human hospitality really looks like." As the ship moved toward its destiny, every person aboard understood that they were about to make history. The age of humanity hiding from stronger enemies was ending. The age of humanity becoming the thing that stronger enemies hid from was about to begin. The message arrived on every Zephyrian communication channel at exactly the same time. It was broadcast in perfect military code using frequencies that humans were not supposed to know existed. The words were simple, but their meaning shook the alien empire to its foundation. "This is Captain Ryan Mitchell of the Earth vessel Nemesis. You have 48 hours to withdraw from all human territories and return our prisoners. This is your only warning." Admiral Korak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dawn, staring at the message display in disbelief. In 300 years of conquest, no species had ever issued an ultimatum to the Zephyrian Empire. The idea was so impossible that his mind struggled to process it. "How did they break our encryption?" demanded Commander Vextar, his second-in-command. "Our communication codes are changed daily. Even our own scientists need special equipment to decode them." Korax's crystalline features darkened with rage. "It doesn't matter how they did it. What matters is that these primitive creatures dare to threaten us. Prepare the fleet for immediate attack on Earth." On Earth, Dr. Kate Hudson monitored alien communications from a hidden bunker deep beneath Strategic Command. She watched the Zephyrian responses with satisfaction. 15 years of studying captured alien technology had finally paid off. Not only could humans read every alien message, they could send messages that appeared to come from within the alien fleet itself. "They're panicking," she reported to Admiral Rodriguez. "Their secure channels are full of confused messages. They can't understand how we're doing this." The truth was that human scientists had been preparing for this moment since the first contact with alien species. Every captured device, every prisoner interrogation, every piece of wreckage had been studied and analyzed. Slowly, carefully, humans had learned the secrets of technologies that were thousands of years more advanced than their own. But humans had advantages that aliens did not expect. Human minds worked differently than most alien species. Where aliens followed logical patterns and established rules, humans could think in ways that seemed random and chaotic. This made human technology unpredictable and difficult to counter. Colonel Steve Barnes coordinated resistance activities across the occupied worlds. Human prisoners who had been held in Zephyrian camps for months suddenly began receiving coded instructions. Weapons caches that had been hidden during the initial invasion were quietly activated. On the planet Kepler-7, former Earth Marine Lisa Park had been pretending to be a broken prisoner for 6 months. She had watched aliens abuse her fellow humans while she waited for orders. Now those orders had finally come. Hidden in her cell was enough explosive material to destroy the entire prison complex. "All units, this is command," came the coded message through her hidden radio. "Operation Payback begins in 47 hours. Make them remember why they should have left us alone." Similar messages went out to resistance cells on dozens of worlds. The Zephyrians had kept human prisoners alive as a form of psychological warfare. They wanted Earth to know that human civilians were suffering. Now that decision would destroy them. The 48-hour countdown began and both sides prepared for war. But this would not be like the previous battles. The Zephyrians had always fought weaker enemies who tried to use their own technology against them. They had never faced an enemy who had spent decades learning their weaknesses. Commander Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Nemesis as it moved toward the edge of human space. His ship was alone, but he was not worried. The Nemesis had been designed to fight entire fleets by itself. Its weapons were based on physics that most aliens had never discovered. Its defenses could absorb any attack and turn that energy into power for counterattack. "Captain," said Lieutenant Amy Foster, "we're detecting movement from the Zephyrian fleet. 1,000 ships are changing course toward Earth." "Good," Mitchell replied. "Oracle analyzed their formation and movement patterns." The ship's AI responded immediately. "Enemy fleet is moving in standard conquest formation. They expect minimal resistance. They are not taking precautions against advanced weapons. Recommended action: let them come." Dr. Hudson worked at her science station monitoring the approaching alien fleet. Each enemy ship was larger and more powerful than anything humans had built before the Nemesis. But size and power meant nothing if you were using the wrong kind of science. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and physical projectiles," she reported. "They have no defense against quantum manipulation. Our weapons will go through their defenses like they don't exist." Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter studied tactical displays showing the entire theater of operations. "Sir, if we wait for them to get close to Earth, civilian populations will be at risk if anything goes wrong." Mitchell considered this. The plan was to let the aliens come to Earth and then destroy them completely. But Lisa was right about the risk. If even one alien ship survived and reached Earth, millions of people could die. "We'll meet them at the edge of the system," he decided. "Far enough from Earth to keep civilians safe, close enough to send a message to the entire galaxy." As the hours passed, tension built throughout human space. On Earth, millions of people watched the news feeds and waited to see if their species would survive. They knew that a huge alien fleet was coming to destroy their homeworld. What they did not know was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. The Zephyrian fleet continued its approach, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Admiral Corax had never lost a battle. His ships had never been seriously damaged. His crews had never faced an enemy that could match their technology. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "we're detecting a single human ship at the edge of their star system. It appears to be waiting for us." Corax laughed. "One ship? Are they planning to surrender formally?" "The ship is not responding to our communications. It's just sitting there. Then, we'll destroy it and continue to Earth." Signal the fleet to prepare for orbital bombardment. What Admiral Corax did not know was that the single human ship contained more destructive power than his entire fleet. The Nemesis was not just a warship. It was the result of 50 years of human anger, human determination, and human refusal to accept defeat. Commander Mitchell watched the alien fleet approach on his view screen. 1,200 ships, each one larger than a human city, enough firepower to burn worlds, coming toward one human ship that they thought was helpless. "All stations prepare for battle," he ordered. "Show them what happens when you threaten Earth." The final hours of the countdown began. Soon the galaxy would learn that humanity's time as prey had ended. The time of humanity as predator was about to begin. The Zephyrian armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, like an avalanche of crystalline death. 1,200 warships spread across space in perfect formation. Each ship was the size of a human city and carried enough weapons to destroy a planet. Admiral Corax had brought the largest fleet in Zephyrian history to end the human problem once and for all. But instead of finding scattered human defenders running in panic, they found a single black ship waiting in the void. The USS Nemesis hung motionless in space like a predator watching prey approach. Its dark hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it, making the ship look like a hole cut in reality itself. Commander Ryan Mitchell stood on his bridge, watching the alien formation deploy. After 50 years of preparation, the moment had finally arrived. Humanity would either rise to become a galactic power or be destroyed completely. There was no middle ground. "Oracle, full tactical analysis," he ordered. The ship's artificial intelligence responded with a voice that somehow conveyed both vast intelligence and barely controlled violence. "Enemy fleet composition. 1,200 vessels ranging from destroyer class to dreadnought class. Total firepower, sufficient to sterilize all life on Earth. Crew complement, approximately 2 million aliens. Recommended response, complete annihilation." Lieutenant Amy Foster opened communication channels to every human ship, station, and colony in the system. "All vessels, this is Nemesis Actual. Bear witness to the end of humanity's childhood." Admiral Corax studied the lone human ship through his view screen. It was smaller than his flagship's weapon turrets. The idea that one primitive vessel would dare to face his entire fleet was so ridiculous that he almost felt insulted. "Open fire," he commanded. "Destroy that ship and then proceed to Earth." The Zephyrian fleet opened fire with a coordinated barrage that had never failed to destroy any target. Energy beams that could cut through mountains, particle cannons that could vaporize asteroids, and plasma torpedoes that burned hotter than stars all converged on the Nemesis simultaneously. The weapons struck the human ship and simply disappeared. Not absorbed, not deflected, but completely negated as if they had never existed. The Nemesis's defensive systems operated on principles that the aliens could not comprehend. They converted incoming energy into power for the ship's own systems, making each attack actually strengthen their enemy. Then the Nemesis fired back. The first quantum torpedo left the ship and traveled toward the Zephyrian flagship faster than light itself. Admiral Corax watched it approach on his tactical display, confident that his shields could stop any human weapon. The torpedo struck the Eternal Dawn's defensive barrier and passed through it like it was empty space, and the weapon hit the hull of the massive ship, and Admiral Corax suddenly understood that he had made a terrible mistake. The torpedo did not explode. Instead, it reached into the basic structure of reality and told the flagship to stop existing. The ship, its crew, and everything inside it simply vanished as if they had never been built. Commander Vextar, now commanding the fleet from a heavy cruiser, stared at the empty space where his flagship had been. "All ships, evasive maneuvers. Concentrate fire on the human vessel." But the Nemesis was no longer where it had been. The ship moved through space using engines that folded reality around them. It appeared behind the alien formation before anyone could react. Dr. Kate Hudson's quantum torpedo launchers fired again and again, each shot erasing another alien ship from existence. Chief Engineer Sam Walsh monitored the weapon systems as they cycled through targets with mechanical precision. "All systems operating at peak efficiency, Captain. Power levels are actually increasing as we absorb their attacks." The Zephyrian formation, designed for maximum firepower against conventional enemies, became a liability as their ships were too close together to avoid the expanding zones of quantum destruction. Every shot from the Nemesis deleted not just the target ship, but a sphere of space around it. Any alien vessel caught in that sphere would be erased along with the primary target. "Impossible," whispered Commander Vextar as he watched a third of his fleet disappear in less than 10 minutes. "No species in the galaxy has technology like this." Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter coordinated the attack from her tactical station, targeting the command ships first. Once their leadership is gone, the rest will panic. The Nemesis fired its main energy cannons for the first time. These weapons drew power directly from artificial black holes contained in special chambers. The beams that emerged were not made of normal energy. They were concentrated gravitational force that could crush matter at the atomic level. A Zephyrian dreadnought, one of the largest ships ever built, was caught in the beam's path. The massive vessel imploded instantly, its entire structure compressed into a point smaller than a marble. The gravity wave from its destruction damaged dozens of nearby ships. "All ships, retreat," Commander Vextar finally ordered. "We cannot fight this thing." But it was too late. The Nemesis had moved again, this time appearing in the middle of the alien formation. Oracle had calculated the optimal position to maximize destruction, and the AI was executing its plan with ruthless efficiency. "Enemy vessels attempting to flee," reported the artificial intelligence. "Shall I pursue?" Mitchell nodded grimly. "Destroy them all." No survivors. The ship's point defense systems activated, filling space with a web of energy that intercepted fleeing ships before they could escape. Each defensive beam was precisely targeted to disable enemy engines without destroying the ships completely. The aliens found themselves trapped in normal space, unable to jump to hyperspace while the Nemesis hunted them down one by one. On Earth, millions of people watched the battle through telescope feeds and sensor data. They saw one human ship systematically destroying a fleet that had conquered half the galaxy. The impossible was happening before their eyes. Jake Morrison, still commanding the damaged USS Defiance, watched from the asteroid field where his ship was hidden. "My God," he whispered. "We actually did it. We built something that can beat them." The battle lasted 37 minutes. When it was over, the space around Earth was filled with wreckage and empty areas where ships had been completely erased. Of the 1,200 alien vessels that had come to destroy humanity, exactly 0 remained intact. Commander Vextar died when his cruiser was caught in a quantum torpedo's deletion field. His last thought was that the Zephyrian Empire had underestimated humans in the worst possible way. They had treated them like primitive animals instead of recognizing them as the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. The Nemesis hung alone in space among the debris of the alien fleet. Its weapons powered down but remained ready. Its sensors reached out across the galaxy, detecting and cataloging every alien military installation within 1,000 light-years. "Oracle," said Captain Mitchell, "transmit a message to all alien governments. Tell them that humanity is no longer accepting their interference in our affairs." The AI composed and sent the message in hundreds of alien languages simultaneously. The meaning was simple. Earth's children were no longer prey. They had become the hunters, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through from Earth Command. "Nemesis, this is Fleet Command. Congratulations on your victory. What are your intentions for Phase 3? Mitchell looked at his crew and smiled for the first time since the battle began. "We're going to visit every alien world that has human prisoners. It's time to bring our people home." News of the Zephyrian fleet's complete destruction spread across the galaxy faster than the few surviving alien scouts could carry it. Within hours, every major civilization had received sensor recordings of the impossible battle. A single human ship had erased 1,200 of the most advanced warships ever built. Admiral Helen Rodriguez stood in Earth's Strategic Command Center, watching reports flood in from across human space. Colonies that had been abandoned for months suddenly found themselves free, as Zephyrian occupying forces simply fled without fighting. The aliens had left behind prisoners, captured equipment, and entire military bases in their rush to escape human territory. Captain Jake Morrison, his ship finally repaired, led a small fleet to New Haven Station. What they found amazed them. The Zephyrian garrison had abandoned the system completely, leaving behind thousands of human prisoners and massive amounts of alien technology. The prisoners told stories of their guards receiving emergency orders to evacuate immediately, with no explanation given. "They just left," reported former prisoner Lisa Park, who had been held on Kepler 7. One minute they were running the camp like always. The next minute they were packing everything they could carry and running for their ships. The commander kept saying something about humans having impossible weapons. Commander Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Nemesis as it approached its next target. Intelligence reports indicated that the planet Xerion held over 50,000 human prisoners in forced labor camps. The Zephyrian colonial government had been contacted with a simple message: release all humans immediately or face the consequences. The alien response had been predictable. Governor Zieltok had refused to surrender what he called valuable resources. He had boasted that his planetary defenses could stop any human attack. He was about to learn how wrong he was. "Captain," said Dr. Kate Hudson from her science station, "planetary scans show approximately 60 defense satellites and a shield generator covering the main continent. Nothing we can't handle." Lieutenant Amy Foster monitored alien communications. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, calling for military assistance. No one is responding. It seems like every alien government is suddenly very busy with other things. The truth was that the destruction of the Zephyrian Armada had sent shockwaves through galactic civilization. Species that had ruled for millennia suddenly found themselves reconsidering their positions. 12 other major powers had quietly withdrawn all forces from human space, unwilling to test whether Earth possessed more ships like the Nemesis. Oracle spoke in its calm, dangerous voice. "Captain, I am detecting fear in the alien communications. They are discussing complete evacuation of the system." Mitchell nodded. "Give them 30 minutes to release our people and leave. If they refuse, demonstrate what human patience looks like when it runs out." On Earth, Colonel Steve Barnes coordinated with newly freed resistance cells across human space. The hidden weapons and trained fighters that had been waiting for months were finally able to act. Alien supply lines were cut, communication networks were sabotaged, and isolated enemy outposts found themselves under attack by humans they had thought were helpless. "Sir," reported one of his communications officers, "we're getting surrender offers from alien governments across the spiral arm. They're asking for mercy and promising to return all human prisoners." Barnes smiled grimly. "Tell them we'll consider their requests after every single human has been returned safely. Until then, they can watch their fleets disappear one ship at a time." The 30 minutes expired on Zerion with no response from the planetary government. Governor Zieltok had decided that humans were bluffing. Even if they had destroyed one Zephyrian fleet, they could not possibly threaten an entire fortified world. The Nemesis fired a single quantum torpedo at the planet's largest moon. The celestial body, which had existed for billions of years, simply stopped existing. One moment it was there, the next moment there was empty space. The gravitational effects of its disappearance sent shockwaves through the planet's oceans. "This is Captain Mitchell of the Earth vessel Nemesis," he broadcast to the planet. "You have 15 minutes to begin evacuation of all human prisoners. For every minute you delay, another moon disappears." Governor Zieltok's response came within 3 minutes. The evacuation would begin immediately. All humans would be transported to orbital stations where Earth ships could collect them safely. The Zephyrian colonial government would withdraw from the system entirely. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as the Nemesis visited each world that held human prisoners. The ship did not need to fire its weapons again. The demonstration at Zerion had been sufficient. Alien governments that had spent centuries conquering weaker species suddenly found themselves on the receiving end of overwhelming force. Dr. Hudson monitored the ship's systems as they traveled from world to world. "Captain, we're receiving technological data from the aliens as part of their surrender negotiations. They're offering their most advanced research in exchange for mercy." "Accept it all," Mitchell ordered. "Earth scientists can use every advantage we can get." Lieutenant Commander Lisa Carter studied strategic reports from across human space.
"Sir, the political situation is changing rapidly."
"The Galactic Council has requested an emergency session to discuss humanity's new status. They want to offer us full membership and alliance treaties." Mitchell laughed without humor. "Tell them we'll consider their invitation after we finish cleaning up our neighborhood. Humanity doesn't need their permission to exist anymore." Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through from Earth Command. "Nemesis, this is Fleet Command. Phase 3 is proceeding ahead of schedule. All major alien powers have agreed to return human prisoners and withdraw from our territories. How soon can you begin Phase 4? Phase 4 was the final stage of Protocol 7. Human construction yards that had been building evacuation ships were retooling for a new purpose. Ships based on technology learned from the Nemesis were beginning production. Earth would soon have a fleet that could challenge any power in the galaxy. "Admiral," Mitchell replied, "we're ready to begin whenever you give the order. Oracle has identified 17 alien military installations that pose potential threats to human space." We can neutralize all of them within a month. The artificial intelligence added its own assessment. Human technological superiority is now established beyond question. Recommendation: use this advantage to secure permanent safety for human civilization. Jake Morrison, now commanding a small task force of liberated human ships, watched as the last Cypherian transport left the New Haven system. Thousands of human prisoners were finally free, and their former captors were fleeing toward their home territories with whatever they could carry. "Captain," said his communications officer, "we're receiving reports from across the colonial sector. Alien garrisons are abandoning their positions everywhere. They're leaving behind enough equipment to outfit entire fleets." Jake nodded with satisfaction. "Good, collect everything they left behind. Earth's engineers will want to study all of it." The Nemesis completed its tour of alien worlds and returned to Earth space. Behind it came a convoy of ships carrying nearly 200,000 freed human prisoners. Men, women, and children who had thought they would die in alien labor camps were finally going home. As the great ship docked at Earth's primary orbital station, crowds gathered to watch through viewing ports. The vessel that had saved their species looked like something from a nightmare, all black angles and barely visible energy patterns. But to human eyes, it was the most beautiful sight in the galaxy. Commander Mitchell met with Admiral Rodriguez in person for the first time since the mission began. "Admiral, Phase 3 is complete. All known human prisoners have been recovered. Alien forces have withdrawn from our territory. What are your orders for Phase 4? Rodriguez looked out at the stars and thought about the future. "Captain, humanity has been prey for too long. It's time we became the apex predator. Take the Nemesis and show the galaxy what happens to any species that threatens Earth's children." The ship departed Earth orbit the next day, beginning its journey to the first alien military installation on Oracle's target list. Behind it, construction yards worked around the clock to build more vessels based on its revolutionary design. The age of humanity hiding from stronger enemies was over. The age of other species hiding from humanity had begun, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again.